Alright, well, here I am again, looking a bit unkempt, and it's actually kind of in a way on purpose, because I was thinking, a person should maybe shower and calm my hair down a little bit if I'm going to do one of these sort of rather visual journals. However, I got thinking, especially in light of the journal that I'm doing, which is my first entry on the Environmental Action Research Project, I maybe should consider not wasting water and hair products and other things that maybe aren't environmentally friendly. So it's a calculated move. I sort of been working on my beginnings of the Environmental Action Research Project tonight, and it's already the 9th of October. I don't want to leave it any longer because I actually want to be able to see an impact in what I'm doing before it's done, and I haven't even completely have everything figured out, but what I did do, just for a baseline, to sort of establish a baseline about what I'm going to be doing, I did an ecological footprint thing online, and it determined that if everybody on the planet wanted to live my lifestyle, it would take 4.1 Earths to sustain it. I mean, I think things like that are kind of silly, and I think it's there's so many factors that go into a real footprint that I don't think you can actually make anything even close to accurate. I think the error would be bigger than the result, but it gives me a baseline to work from, and if I use the same site to measure changes and stuff like that, it should tell me if I'm making a difference and so on. And it broke it down a little further. It says my carbon footprint is 16.3 global hectares, which is considerably lower than the 29.0 that the Canadian average is. My food footprint was actually higher than the Canadian average, 24.4 global hectares over 23.7 on the average. I definitely take exception to that. I don't believe it for a second. The problem is that it didn't have an option that actually explains why my global footprint's probably smaller than almost anybody's, and that is I get an awful lot of my food from my farm. I don't buy it at all, and almost all of the beef I eat comes from the farm. An awful lot of other meat products and an awful lot of vegetables and stuff like that come from our family farm, and that just wasn't an option, and I think that's a huge oversight, because I can't be the only person in Canada or in the rest of the world, for that example, that benefits from that particular arrangement. So I think that's skewed abnormally high. So I've decided to remove my action research planning from anything to do with food. I think I'm already doing as much with food as I can possibly do as a student. So it's out of the question. And like I say, I think it's also falsely high, and no matter what I change, I'm not going to be able to change it, and I want to use this website as a baseline, as I mentioned before. So my housing footprint's very small. It's 5.5 global hectares to 11.5 is the Canadian average, and my goods and services is 18.2 to the Canadian average of 25.1, for a total of 64.42 global hectares. I don't actually believe that my impact on this earth actually takes up that kind of land. It doesn't. These websites are somewhat political, as well as let's just say that they have a message that they're trying to put forth, and in order to do so, they skew high. I have no doubt in my mind about that, but that doesn't mean I can't make improvements. The lighting in my house is already complex fluorescent, and as a matter of fact, I've only got 3 lights in my entire apartment. It's a small bachelor type suite, so there's not much I can do there, but one thing I think I can work on is shutting off a light when I leave a room, which I don't always do. So that's one of the things I want to work on. And the other thing is water consumption. My water consumption is through the roof. I actually take very few precautions against wasting water. There's nothing I can do about certain things like my toilet flushing and stuff like that. It's not my place to put a environmentally friendly toilet in, and I certainly don't want to foot the bill that they would make me pay if I wanted them to put one in. Well, it's not whether I want to or not, it's kind of irrelevant because I can't afford to. But one thing I can do is take considerably shorter showers. I tend to wake up in the morning kind of groggy, and I tend to use a shower to wake me up, and consequently they tend to be 20 minutes long, and that's obscene. I can almost certainly bring my showers down to 5 minutes. I don't think I can do it immediately, but I think I can do it. The other thing is when I'm shaving, I tend to leave the water running constantly. So it's a waste of water, and I can shut it off in between, and I'll take steps to do that too. I tend to waste water when washing dishes. I don't tend to waste water washing laundry. I tend to use big loads, and just because it saves me money, but nevertheless it has a good consequence of using quite large loads. And so, you know, wasting as little water as possible in that situation. But I do tend to dry my clothes in the dryer, and there's really nothing I can do to stop doing that either, because the reality is I live in an apartment. I have no outdoors to dry things, and my apartment is simply too small to dry things. I have no place to set up a rack or anything, so that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. What I guess I came to realize is that my footprint's actually fairly small. I don't drive very much. I drive only when I have to around the city or when I want to go home. I usually take the bus, which is pretty good, which is probably why my carbon footprint's fairly low compared to the average that they claim for Canada. So that reducing water simply isn't going to be enough, and yet it's the only thing that I've got from this. And so the only other thing I think I can work on is maybe some recycling. We don't have recycling in this building, and so I don't recycle anything right now, and I know that is a problem. But you know, it has been an inconvenience in the past, and it's an inconvenience now, but you know, in light of the class and in what we're trying to do, it might be an inconvenience it's worth looking at changing. So I'm going to do some recycling as well. So as well as improving my water usage, and you know, to the extent I can, reducing my energy usage. Well, the other thing is with energy usage is I tend to leave my computers on. I'm going to start shutting my computers off. So, and with that and recycling, that's a fair chunk of things. One other thing I would like to do is maybe start, excuse me, getting in better shape. I used to be in pretty good shape in terms of strength training and stuff like that, but my joints have been so bad that I haven't really been doing much of it. And there's nothing I can really do about the joints, but I can maybe make a concerted effort to walk more each day. So I'm hoping that between those sort of four main things, the energy, water consumption, recycling, and more walking, that I have some level of a beginning to this environmental action research project. I guess we'll see how it actually works out, and of course there will be more information at some point. This is probably one of the more boring journals, I hope. All it is me talking about what I am doing and what I'm planning on trying. The next journal is going to actually be about the bicycle trip through around Wascana Lake, which I enjoyed quite a bit, and about the SOIA conference, which also I enjoyed quite a bit, and I'm going to do a little bit of talking about each one, but I think the vast majority of it's actually maybe just going to be kind of you know, slideshow of pictures of the SOIA conference, and you know, sort of I guess, speaking for itself. Maybe throw in a bit of music and see what happens from there. So that's it for now.